Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Saprell, I understand you grew up in Rhode Island?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful. Congratulate you on your excellent work on the Over 50 and Out of Work project. I always am glad to see Rhode Islanders doing great things, even if they've moved to other places. I was happy to see that your project included 5 of our fellow Rhode Islanders, some of whom I've had the pleasure of meeting. One of those is George Dice from Forestdale. He was not in your presentation today, but I'd like to add his story. George was laid off from his career as a design engineer over 3 years ago and still hasn't been able to fully get back into the job market. Not for lack of trying. He's gotten training in other industries and is willing to do just about anything. But as you know, we're at 10.9% unemployment, and that makes the job market very difficult. I think it's safe to assume that George and probably most of the people that you interviewed never thought they would be collecting unemployment benefits. That was not something that was on their horizon at all. And yet, the recession came. The disaster in Wall Street created this cascade of misery across the country that knocked down people in Rhode Island and other places. And we've had to fight very hard to try to keep unemployment benefits going. As you'll recall, we were only allowed to increase unemployment benefits, a month and a quarter at a time, and each time there was a price to be paid for it. Basically, the people in Mr. Dice's situation were held ransom for other political demands that people had here in Washington. Just react for me to the people who are the so-called 99ers now, for whom 99 weeks has gone by, and even though we extend unemployment benefits within that period, once you're at the end of the 99 weeks, you're just done. And for a lot of those people, they never imagined they'd be on unemployment at all, let alone on unemployment for 99 weeks. So they spent down, they used a lot of their resources waiting for the day when they'd be back on their feet again, and now they find themselves in real trouble. What are you seeing for that group of folks?
Well, if I answer specifically about George Dice, he's driving a bus or a van part-time, and he also got a real estate license, and he's trying to sell homes, which is also a difficult proposition. But that is all he can find. He is a good example of many of our interviewees who have put out hundreds of resumes and have been unable to find employment. I think what it comes down to, Senator Whitehouse, is a lot of people are then forced to take jobs, as maybe we have heard a little bit about today, that are severely under their skill level, or they accept a rate of pay that's much lower than they received previously, or they take a job without benefits, or they work fewer hours. So even though
and in some cases, they can't move to find a better job because they're underwater in their home mortgage.
Exactly. And sometimes, even though this is not an economic effect, people in my generation, because I'm 53, are taking care of elderly parents, and they're unable to move because they're caring for a father or mother in their hometown. And you would be surprised how often that comes up in our interviews. But underemployment is just a huge issue. And I can give you so many examples of our interviewees, because since our project has been going on for 16 months, many of our interviewees have run out of unemployment benefits over that period of time. And they are really struggling. Yeah. And they are accepting jobs that pay 25% or 33% of what they received previously. Or they are forced into becoming independent contractors or consultants. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but as Senator Enzi said, becoming a business person takes a whole basket of skills, and not every person who has worked 30 years as an engineer is suddenly equipped to become a marketer for his or her own services and to be constantly promoting him or herself. I'm definitely not saying that people can't acquire those skills, and many of our interviewees have proven to be remarkably resourceful and determined and find ways to get back to work, but I can tell you for sure they are not getting back to work at salaries comparable to what they received previously, nor with benefits.
I have just a few seconds left, so I'll wait for the second round, but I did want to mention to Mr. Clements and Ms. Grubel that in my second round, I'd like to discuss the IRS information that shows the top 400 income earners in the country who earned over $250 million each actually paid taxes of 18.2%. And when you've got the chance in the next round, I'll ask you to think about if you put your withholding and your income together, whether you pay more than 18.2%. So that's a preview of coming attractions, but my time has expired.